Good morning and welcome to day 129 on the AT. My name is Mosey and this is rissaroams. It is about 5:30 in the morning. Have everything packed up inside my tent and actually just made my coffee right outside, brought it back in. This is my first time eating in my tent. But it is dark and it is raining. So we're gonna have breakfast and we're gonna pack up the tent, put on my soaking wet shoes from that river crossing yesterday, and keep moving. 15.3 miles today. I just barely, not quite, did 13 yesterday. So, but I got started much later, and we're going into this realizing it's going to be slow moving, and it's going to be hard. That's okay. The day before yesterday, I got a little confident doing 9 miles after the food drop, thinking, oh yeah, I made great time. Not the case. I'm not going to be making great time the next couple days, and that is okay. I just need to know that. All right, been climbing for about an hour and 15 minutes. So far, so good. A lot of the trail looks like this. This one isn't too bad because there's actually pine straw in there instead of mud. Some of these sections look like they're from the Upside Down in Stranger Things. It's crazy. So we're gonna go climb some wet roots and rocks, but at least this section isn't muddy. This morning I told myself today was gonna be tough, today was gonna be long, but it was gonna be okay. And it is gonna be okay. But today is rougher than I thought. I just got to the first shelter, the shelter I had hoped to get to last night, naively, when I thought I could do a 17-mile day out here. I left camp shortly after 6. I got here shortly after 10. It was a 4.2-mile hike, meaning I moved approximately 1 mile an hour. It's been raining the whole time. I'm soaking wet. I've fallen. Not bad, soft falls, but I've fallen twice. It is so muddy. The trail is a waterfall. And with the roots and the mud and the rocks, this is probably the worst trail conditions I've ever hiked in. Yeah, it's no joke. So anyway, the plan had been to do 15 miles today. And I'm sorry, you're not going to see any of trail. I'm not filming. It's just not happening. One, it's hideous to look at. You don't want to see it. Two, I'm drenched and already moving slow, so I can't show you. But yeah, the plan had been to do 15 miles today. That's not going to happen. The next shelter, I think, would make it an 11-ish mile day. I think we're going to have to do that. I'm not going to lie. I didn't anticipate not being able to do 15-mile days. I really didn't anticipate that. So I don't quite have enough food. I'll be fine. I have enough to get me through. I just am not going to be eating as much as I normally would. So that's fun. I almost bought extra when they gave me the food drop, but I genuinely, pridefully thought that I could do this stretch in the amount of days I had planned for, and I don't think that's possible. Okay, so while I was at the shelter, 3 Nobos showed up, and I was just telling them, I'm not going to get through this as quickly as I thought I would. And they told me that up ahead there is a section that Shaw's could probably pick me up at, and I could either go in and come back and slack pack, or just get out of the rain and get more food since I am running kind of low. They said that they do slack pack people through that section, and with the rain, the water crossings are likely to be pretty rough. So either wait that out or have enough food to wait that out on trail. So that's something to think about. Probably gonna call Shaw's next time I'm on top of the mountain where I have service and see what they can do for me. Man, I hate to be that person that was unprepared, but I genuinely did not understand how slow moving this was gonna be. Yeah, I would have liked to have taken probably a longer break, made a cup of coffee, but I was starting to get a little cold sitting there. So I decided I best get a move on. 7 more miles to the next shelter, which is where I'm gonna call it for the day. Well, even though it's raining, I couldn't not pull out my camera to show this. Just stepped in ankle deep mud. Almost got sucked in. When I heard this as I was walking up on it, I was a little worried what I was going to come upon. Luckily, it does seem pretty rock hoppable, a little slippery, so I'll have to go slow. Filtering some water at the moment and gonna have a snack. The shelter is a little less than 5.5 miles away that I'm planning on stopping at, so that's good. It's a little afternoon right now, so even if I'm only moving 1 mile an hour, I should still get there, you know, by 5:30, I would say. It'd be nice if I could get there earlier. I would love to get dry. There's no going any further than that, though. Yeah, it would be 4 more miles to the next shelter, and that's too far. This is the trail, by the way, just in case you're wondering. That's not the trail, but the trail's running off there. Yeah, once again, this is the trail. Just came down that, which was a lot of fun. While on top of the 3rd chairback, I was able to get some cell phone signal, called Shaw's. They are going to pick me up at Otter Pond tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. So I'm going to get off, get more food, and assess then if I want to slack pack or go back out, what water levels are going to be like, how, you know, stream crossings and river crossings are going to be after all the rain. So we shall see. Called my mom, let her know what was up. Hopefully what I told her didn't make her panic more than she already was. Yeah, it's a slow day. I'm not gonna lie, I'm really struggling. Once again, it's not even that the trail is like hard that I can't do it. It's just I'm moving so slow and I feel like I am moving, and then I check and I'm moving at less than 1 mile per hour. It's 3 o'clock. I still have 3.5 miles to go, and I just realized that the shelter is down a 0.3 side trail. And by the time I get there, the shelter's probably gonna be full. I'm gonna go climb this right now, but I'm just feeling really defeated. Yeah, like I said, it's just, I'm moving so slow. I'm moving slower today than when I climbed Katahdin. I don't understand. Not familiar with the history of this, but plane crash right beside the trail. It's pretty wild. All right, update. We've been moving a little bit faster, not quite 2 miles per hour, but close. I prayed for strength, and the Lord is coming through. I also prayed for Cruisier Trail, which I know the trail's already been cut, but I gotta say he's coming through on that too. There was a good bit of like pine straw switchbacks down. I was like, oh, if we could keep that up. But I knew we couldn't. And I was like, oh, if there would just be stairs instead of rock scrambles. And then I saw these stairs and I almost cried. Oh, I was so happy. Not to say there's not more rock scrambles, I'm sure there are, but I'm just so happy to see stairs. Oh, well, here we are on Cloud Pond. That I'm not to the shelter yet. This is the sketchiest, longest side trail to a shelter. But it's 5:43 and we're almost there. Editing Marissa here to put the finishing touches on this story. I made it to the shelter. I got there, and when I walked up, it appeared as though the shelter was full, and I immediately broke down into tears crying. The LATC was doing some trail construction, and they left like 14 bags of wood chips in that shelter. So we moved those and there was room for me, but in the moment my brain wasn't processing. It just saw a full shelter and broke down. This was genuinely one of the hardest days, and I don't think I realized how much I was doing and really how hard I was working. I felt really weak, but I was going over the Chairbacks, which apparently everyone thinks is hard when there's not a tropical storm rolling through the area. So I rolled up to that shelter that night, and there was a couple. It had taken them 8 hours to go 7 miles that day. So I wasn't alone in going that slow. There were 3 Novos who had zeroed at that shelter, hadn't hiked at all. And so honestly, in the moment I was ashamed of how little progress I made, but looking back, I'm really proud of how hard I pushed that day. It was not easy. I ran into more Novos, and they said that they also were only going 1 mile an hour. This day was just tough, and in the moment I felt really weak for needing to bail out and get picked up by Shaw's the next morning, but I came to learn that I made a very smart decision because things got scary in those water crossings. But yeah, to be continued.